JC here for Retire Cheap JC. Bet you haven't heard from me for a while, have you? That's right. Taking a little sabbatical due to a lot of confluence of events happening, including COVID, projects we're working on, and trying to support our members in our member site that some have visas ready to come over and are in the holding pattern. We have other members that are over stuck in the United States and Vietnam, so helping to support them. So took a little break from YouTube, but we're back to talk about something special. So I'm here to talk to you about something you probably already know about in the news, and that's STD. No, not STD, STV, the special tourist visa. Now, is this like the golden ticket, the Willy Wonka of visas? Maybe, maybe not. That's why I'm going to talk to you, because other people have already done videos about this, but I see there's some information that's not clear or missing, so I need to get you up to speed as to what things are looking like as of this moment, which is like the something of September. So in case you don't know, or you're not up to speed on this, this is a 270-day visa, but it really isn't. It's actually a special kind of tourist visa for long-term tourists. It's pretty funny, isn't it? Because before they said, hey, long-term, there's no such thing as long-term tourists. Those are long-stay visas. You have to get a regular visa, a regular long-stay visa. Now, I mentioned this before, my members know this. I said, hey, things are going to change. There could be an upside to this because country's hungry. So there's already been some things that I've talked about in the member site that are positive changes due to all these events that are happening that are keeping people away from Thailand. And this is one of them. So we're going to talk about this today. Now, actually, this is a 90-day tourist visa. Now, up to this point, tourist visas were only 60 days, and then you could get them extended for another 30 days. This is a 90-day visa that's a tourist visa. Usually those are non-immigrant visas. 90-day tourist visa. Then for 2,000 baht, at the end of the first 90 days, you can get another 90 days. Sounds good, right? That's 6 months. And guess what? You can get it again, 90 days, 9 months. Now this is for people that are going to stay long-term, at least 30 days. Now, there's a couple caveats to this. We're not sure so far what countries are going to be allowed to use this. That'll be coming out probably in the near future. They'll be announcing that. But as of now, we don't know what countries they're going to offer this to. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, you think this is going to open the door and all these people are going to be able to come? No, that's not the case. Why would that be? Because they have to test everybody that comes through the airport. And the way the testing is being done now, they can only test a small amount of people because it's a RT-PCR test, and so it takes about 70 minutes. The lab that's at the airport can only handle so many people. So there's only going to be about 300 people a day being able to roll through the airport. So don't think this is like opening the door and everybody's going to flood in. That's not going to happen. And as long as they keep using the test that they're using, which I think is flawed because I won't go into the details of all this, there's what's called cycle threshold. And from what I understand, the cycle threshold of the test that the Thais are using, they're cycling this 45 times, which means every time you increase the cycle by one number, it doubles the amount of material, genetic material they're looking at. Epidemiologists, virologists around the world say, well, you shouldn't do this more than 35 times. The max is 40. In fact, CDC's guideline says if it's over 40, it's a negative. If it's between 37 and 40, try it again, make sure. So from what I understand, they're doing 45. This is why on the news you're seeing all these people coming in testing positive. I'd like to know the percentage of all those people that ever got a symptom. Probably very little, because they're testing positive for other things that are showing up in their body. But that's a whole nother video, and I've shared all that with the members. But don't think that this door is going to open and all these people are going to flood in. I mentioned that this is a long-term visa. Everybody that's going to come in is going to have to do the 14-day quarantine. Now, United Airlines going from San Francisco to Hawaii, they're actually doing a special test that's really quick. And Hawaii is now saying, okay, if you do the test and you pass the test in the airport, then we don't have to quarantine you for 14 days. So hopefully Thailand will be paying attention to that and adopt that test, or adopt the standard that if people are tested with that test prior to boarding the airplane, they don't have to do the 14-day quarantine, because then that would allow a number of things. First of all, you wouldn't have to do the test upon arrival, which means now more people could come. And they don't have to stay in quarantine for 2 weeks. Who's going to go? That's why Hawaii changed theirs. They said nobody's going to come on vacation and sit in a hotel room, not be able to leave for 2 weeks. It isn't going to happen. But anyway, you do have to, at this point, you do have to book a quarantine, a state quarantine for 14 days. And watch out for those, because some, even if you travel with your spouse, arrive with your spouse, everything with your spouse, some of those quarantine facilities, you can't be in the same room with your spouse. Now, you can exercise with them for an hour a day together, not even with a mask. You can actually eat together without a mask, but you can't stay in the same room. So make sure if you're going to book one of those places, you book one where you can both stay, unless you don't want to, both stay in the same room. So that's what you're going to have to comply to. You're going to have to get a certificate of entry that's going to be issued by the Thai embassy in the country that you're leaving from. And then when you get over here, you're going to actually have to do that 14-day quarantine and take the test, and then go to the quarantine 14 days. But with this new visa, you're also going to have to show that for the period of time that you have the visa, which is the first case is 90 days, a couple of things have to happen. You have to have insurance coverage for COVID for the 90 days. Okay? You're also going to have to show that you have a place to stay after the 14-day quarantine. You have to have all that set up in advance, a rent receipt, or information if you have a condo, where you're going to be staying at the condo, and that you have that set up, that you have a place to stay, because they want to know where you're going to be the rest of the time you're going to be there during the 90 days. So keep all that in mind. This is really important stuff, but these are the things you're going to have to pay attention to. Also keep in mind that if you're within Thailand and you're on some kind of visa and you wanted to get this visa, you can't do it. This is only available outside of the country. The other thing to keep in mind, and this affects some of my members, is they're already sitting someplace with a long-term visa, say like a retirement extension. If you have a valid visa, you can't use this. You can't carry two valid visas at the same time. So your original visa would have to be void. And once you're out of the country, it's very difficult to void a visa. Now, if you were able to come and go within Thailand, of course, you walk out of the country without a multiple entry stamp in your passport or a re-entry permit, then it would be void and you could go get this visa. But if you have a valid visa and you're out of the country, you're having some challenges. You're going to have to wait until they allow your particular type of visa to come back into the country. Now, the good news for that, the chairman of the CCSA, which is the whole COVID task force panel who oversee the easing of the COVID-19 restrictions, announced that the panel will recommend the two groups, which are long-term foreign residents with a retirement visa and permanent residences. They're going to recommend those people for the ones being in the next group allowed. So even if you have that visa, you're still good to go if they go ahead and approve those 2 groups, which the CCSA chairman said he's going to recommend. That's very good news, right? So that's for the next phase of lifting the shutters on Thailand's border. He said he'll recommend these 2 groups of foreigners back into Thailand as they have high purchasing power. So make sure you bring your credit cards and your wallet, okay? He says both groups, though, would still have to undergo the mandatory 14-day quarantine. So, and as far as that insurance, my company, Pacific Cross, has a special policy that covers you for the COVID, covers you for if you're coming in on an OA visa, that gives you that $440,000 coverage that you have to have, all those. But there's a lot of offices that will, or companies that will, give you the insurance, and some of them have this special program that'll cover you this short term for this particular special tourist visa. And so maybe in the description I'll put a link and put some information to those companies as well. But I just wanted to get you up to speed because I noticed some of these things weren't being covered in some of the other postings. Some people are real informative about what's going on, and that's really great. I just wanted to come out and mention this to y'all because I wanted to make sure that you didn't get involved in this process or get your hopes up for this reason, and then that didn't happen, but also get your hopes up that hopefully if you're sitting somewhere with a retirement extension, that soon you'll be able to get over here. So I hope that's been helpful. What's JC doing? Just chilling. But I got some other videos coming at you. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because I will be coming out with some videos shortly. We got a big project I'm going to announce, some really cool stuff. So make sure to be notified. But that's it for now. Remember, when it comes to getting back to Thailand, that's right, always an option. See ya, JC out. Hey, JC here. If you like that video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel here. Also, we have another video up here you're going to be really interested in watching as well. And if you're looking for all the details of how to retire in Thailand in one place, plus a group of people to support you, check this out over here. Give it a click.